Hey guys, welcome back to another video. And at the start of this video, I'm giving a little bit of a haul because I went to Hobby Lobby and got some white Jelly Roll pins because my other ones weren't working as well, and so I got a size 5, an 8, and a 10. And then I also got some Micron pins because I have a lot of larger sizes, but I didn't have the really fine point ones, so I got two of those and then one larger size. I felt like because I was in the middle of Inktober, I had to get some more pins, and I also got this really cool looking cup. So I normally don't show the sketching process just because I end up changing stuff so many times and erasing a lot, but I figured this time I would just so you can see what process I go through before I start coloring my drawings. So I start off with a lot of circles for the head, the shoulders, and then I start drawing lines for arms, and then I draw the general shape of the body, and after that's when I start refining things and getting it exactly how I like it, and I just keep doing that until the piece is as detailed as I want it to be. I had so much fun drawing Nightwing that I decided to give Red Hood a try in that same style because I really like the way the shading was done. It's very blocky, not a whole bunch of blending, and I find that it fits my art style very well. So I used at WZDHHZM's picture as a reference for this one to get the clothes right and the coloring right, and honestly, it was so satisfying to draw. I wish I had stuck him in a different pose because the standing straight on was just kind of boring and not really my style, but since this was only the second time I was trying out this technique, I decided to just go on the simpler side. Let me know if you like the sketching before coloring it in, because I normally don't do this just because it takes so long. So if more people like that part, I will keep it in my later videos. You can see the bleed through on the left side of the page, and that was a DTIYs that I did, and I don't remember exactly who the artist was who originally did that, but she has an amazing art style. I think her @ is MelXArts on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. So drawing this, I tried to go for a very blocky type look just because to me it looks more cartoonish. I think I do spend the most time on sketching just because I want everything to be correct before I lay the color down, because I also feel like if it's not correct then if you try to fix it with color, it doesn't work as well. I loved using a red Col-Erase colored pencil on this drawing because most of the color was red, so it blended in really nicely and I didn't notice it at the end. I've recently found out that I honestly love adding color to any of my drawings because I find that I lean towards that more than just picking up a pencil and sketching that way, just because I like the way it looks and I feel like it's a more finished piece in the end. I also feel like my solely graphite pieces don't look as good as the finished colored pieces. Maybe that means I just need more practice with just graphite, and I probably will do a couple pieces in the sketchbook because I normally do a couple colored and then a couple graphite just to make sure that I'm doing a lot of different things and not sticking to one thing so that I can be well-rounded. But if I really don't feel like drawing, but I'm forcing myself to anyways, I always stick to what I like best, which is using alcohol markers and colored pencil. But anyways, I don't really know what else to say, so enjoy the sketching process. Honestly, I wish I was the type of artist that could do ASMR style videos because I feel like with all these alcohol markers, it would be so satisfying to hear. But when I am drawing or doing stuff like that, I am normally watching YouTube or watching TV and stuff like that, so you always hear that in the background. And plus, I don't have an art studio, I just have a desk in my room. And I have 3 dogs, so it's very loud all the time, and I can't do those style videos all the time, but I'm gonna try every once in a while to have that spot of ASMR in my videos. Just because I know when I'm watching other videos, I do enjoy that section of the video, so I feel like other people would enjoy that as well. So I started off coloring the skin in with the same color that I used for Nightwing. It was my Copic Chow in the shade R20. And I feel like this just gives it a more pinky tone instead of just the plain tan color. After filling all of the skin in, I do go back with my E00 Copic Chow, just so that it's more of a skin tone and not too much of a pink, but it has a pink undertone. So I started off lining the mask because that was one of the black colored in areas, and I feel like that was a good place to start without just like jumping in and going straight in with all the colors and the details and stuff like that. I found that I really love doing the shiny parts in black areas with a really dark gray, and I just love how that looks, even though it's not really shading per se, but it's like blocking out color. I love drawing any superhero slash vigilante that has a sword because they just look so cool peeking up from behind them. The mask was by far my favorite thing to draw because of all the angles and stuff that were in it, and the little black parts on the side just made it look really good. I had to get my Ohuhu marker swatch sheet out just to see what colors I wanted to use before I laid them down, because I wasn't about to mess this up by putting the wrong color down. If you can't tell by that statement, I have done it before, and it just makes me so angry, so I try to avoid that so I don't ruin a piece that I've spent so much time on already. So this is where I finally just started blocking in all the red colors and laying down major colors like black, red, gray, stuff like that. I know it's in the name, but I really enjoyed that Red Hood has a hood, because I feel like Nightwing was very simple. He just had like a skin tight suit, and I feel like this one was more of like a put together outfit with cargo pants and even a cut off jacket. If you have any comic book character recommendations for me to draw, let me know down in the comments, because I would love to give more of these a try, and I just don't know a whole bunch of them, and which ones would be y'all's favorite would be the ones that I would want to draw. So here's where I grabbed the darkest red and filled in my almost black areas, because I knew they were going to be the darkest shadows, so I just used that first. I am honestly so glad I ended up getting those Micron pins, because I feel like that's what brought this piece together in the end. Normally, I like to line things in colored pencil, but because I was going for like this comic book style, I decided to do the black line art, and I think it turned out really well, and I might be doing that more often than colored pencil. I'm so sorry if you can hear my stuffy nose. 'Tis the season of allergies, and they are hitting me hard right now. So I kind of messed up the ab lines at first, but then I realized I was going in with black so I could just cover up the thicker line art that I didn't like, and it ended up looking better, but I did for sure mess up. I'm not too worried about it though, because it's art, and what's a piece made by me if I don't make mistakes? I didn't particularly feel like drawing hands either, so I just kind of made them by his sides and kind of going off the page. So for coloring in his hair, I did the same steps that I did for Nightwing. I started off with the darkest gray and left the white areas white, of course, and then I went back in with a black Ohuhu marker and added more shadows and more depth and detail. I accidentally did too much gray, so I gotta use my white new Jelly Roll pen here, and I didn't do it on purpose, but the Jelly Roll was so nice and smooth. A new Jelly Roll white pen, there's nothing like it. I wanted to leave filling in the main black suit last because I wanted to add all the lighter highlights before I went in with the black, so that way everything looked how I wanted it to. I kind of used the black as a fix-all on all my mistakes because you can just go over anything you didn't want to see, so that's why I saved that one for last, because I didn't want to make more mistakes with the black and then not be able to fix it, so I used all my lighter colors and then fixed it with the black. So, recording myself drawing, I realized how much I wipe off the page from eraser shavings and twirl the marker around, and it's honestly kind of annoying, so I tried to edit that out as much as possible because I just found it annoying how much I fidget with the marker, pencils, and like swipe my hand over the page. Let me know if you do the same thing and you're an artist, because I feel like this is just a habit that I have and I can't shake it, and it just feels so natural at this point that I just keep doing it. When I did draw Nightwing, I didn't video it because it was my first time trying that style and coloring, but I kind of wish I did so that I could compare the two videos and see what I did different and what I liked. But so far, I honestly really like the coloring in of this style, and I'm probably going to be using it a lot more often. And honestly, I try not to record every time that I do open my sketchbook, just so that I'm not having that pressure of trying to make everything perfect at all times. So that's why I kind of love sketchbook tours, because it shows all the pictures that I didn't have videos for on my YouTube channel, but it just alleviates that pressure of having to make everything perfect, and I'm just able to create. I do have an Instagram page where I post more of the stuff that I don't have videos on YouTube. So if you're interested in seeing all the stuff that I do draw and it's not posted on here, go to the link in my bio and give me a follow, and you'll get to see all the stuff that's not posted on YouTube. Like right now, I currently have a lot of Instagram reels for every Inktober prompt. I've been doing them daily, and I will have a YouTube video at the end of the month showing through all the drawings. I don't know if I'll have process videos on them, but I will definitely be having a sketchbook flip through so y'all can see what I drew during Inktober. Originally, I was gonna post an Inktober YouTube video every week of October, but I realized that I wasn't getting like enough of a time limit. I think they were ending up like 16 minutes or something like that for 6 days, and I was wanting longer videos, so I decided to only do one of those, and it was for the first 6 days, and then I was just going to do the whole thing after October was over with so that I could show you all what I drew. So when I got my Micron fine liner out is when the piece started really coming together and all the details and stuff started to stick out more, and I just feel like it gave it more of a polished look, and I really enjoyed the whole process of this. Also, I forgot to mention, but sorry if you can see my hair on screen. I forgot to tie it up, and when I start to do detail work, I get very, very close to the page so that I feel like I'm not going to mess it up. So if you do end up seeing my hair, my bad. It's my fault that I didn't tie my hair back, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. Ohuhu has so many different shades of red in the 48 color set that it just made shading this picture so easy. I've probably said this in every single one of my videos, but Ohuhu to me has been one of the best marker brands that I have used, alcohol marker brand wise, because the shading is very nice and it's fairly inexpensive compared to Copic markers, and I feel like they last longer than Copic markers do. Because even with the medium size amount that I have, I'm able to get so many different colors and shades and blending and stuff like that. I do wish I had the largest, I think it's 360 marker pack, just because I love Ohuhu so much, and maybe in the future I'll end up splurging and getting that, but right now these ones do the trick. And if you're starting off with alcohol markers, I think the 48 or even less than that, you could get a lot of different colors and shading. So you don't necessarily need the largest pack, but I just feel like it would be so much fun to have. If you see me using any markers, 99% of the time it's going to be Ohuhu. That 1% is the, I think, 12 Copic Chow markers that I have. Maybe it's 24, I don't really remember. And I very rarely use those. I did on the skin tone for this one, but I rarely use those because I've had them for so long and a lot of them are starting to dry out, so I more so gravitate towards my newer Ohuhu markers. So at this point, I was just putting finishing touches on the shading, and then I started to outline with my Micron pens. Oh, and the sketchbook I'm using, I'm sure you all know because it's been in my past videos, but it is a Moleskine sketchbook that I got off of Amazon that's not great with markers. It does have a lot of bleed through, but I really like the dimensions of the sketchbook, and I feel like the bleed through is not as bad because I can just draw on one side and then towards the end start covering up the other side with just random pieces of paper and such. So I feel like it's worth it to me to have the sketchbook in the dimensions I want, even if the markers do bleed through, because there's not a lot of sketchbooks besides one specifically made for markers that are not going to bleed through. But because I like to do a whole bunch of mixed media, I think this sketchbook works just fine. Honestly, I feel like the line art is the most nerve-wracking part because that's the part where I tend to mess up, and I feel like every small mistake everybody can see. But honestly, if you're looking at it from this distance, it looks fine, and I shouldn't be worried that much about it at this point. I know this is off topic, but I'm so ready for the colder weather days. I know it means that there's going to be less daylight and I'm going to have a hard time finding times to film where the lighting's good, but I'm just ready for the cold. I don't like the heat that much. I would much rather put on more layers than be sweating all day, so I'm ready for the cold, whatever that brings. I know it's going to make my lighting worse, but that's just how I feel. Let me know how y'all feel, which season's your favorite, things like that. So when I finished drawing Red Hood and I went to stop the recording, I looked at it and it said my storage was full, but luckily it was very close to the end of my recording because I was so scared that it was going to be towards the beginning and it was going to be missing so much footage. But I think the only thing that was missing is some details on the pants and stuff like that. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is a finished piece, and don't forget to like and subscribe.